All right, how many of you would be able to do one of these right now without me reviewing it? Hands way up. Sort of, with some guidance. Well, as I said, I'm going to do a crash course, probably 5 minutes, and then I'll ask you to do at least one. What do you need, my friend? As long as I get them back. Okay. Because you know, I have a thing with highlighters. They're very precious to me. They're like gemstones. Anyways, mortgage schedules, amortization tables. Page 41. So this just keeps track of the monthly payment as well as the interest and principal paid each month, right? So if we're zooming into each single payment, if it's bi-weekly, it would be every bi-weekly payment, right? And so forth. But we're just doing monthly in this course. Fill in the monthly payment chart for the house valued. There's that valued, right? What is the value of the house? $185,000. There's a down payment of $25,000. The rest is amortized at 6% over 25 years. The first thing you need, okay, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, sometimes this chart will be partially filled in. You skip this step, right? But if you have to start it from scratch, you need to first find the payment. So let's go ahead and find the payment. This is reviewing a little bit as well, right? We need to take away the down payment to get our mortgage, right? This is what we call a mortgage. And I used numbers that are fairly simple to just do in our heads, right? So 160, we need to get that table rate. 6% over 25 years, go get it. Make sure you get 640. So you're paying $640 per $1,000 you're paying every month, right? So let's go ahead and calculate this. You would get $1,024 per month. So there we go. That's your starting point. This goes into their monthly payment, which never changes, right? Like once you have that figured out, you go ahead and fill that column in. Just make sure you have if you want full marks, if that's what you want, make sure you have dollar signs everywhere. So we've got that. And quite often the first row is going to be blank here. It's going to be blocked off, but the unpaid balance is the 160 grand right here. That's how much you start owing at the very beginning. And what's your equity in this case? How much do you own of this house? It would be your down payment, right? This equity, we didn't have that before for vehicle finance. If so, I would have asked you to scratch that. So this is due, right? The part of the house that you own. So this is slowly gonna increase, right? So we're gonna say this goes up over time, and this goes down over time. Right? That's something you need to make sure you. So I'm gonna give you a little hint here. Add principal, right? To get that amount the next month, we're just going to keep adding principal. For this one, we're going to subtract principal. And this one should not be new for the unpaid balance, right? That's how much you owe. So let's find the first interest. This is I, right? So I is unpaid balance or mortgage, right? Times interest rate divided by 100. All of that divided by 12. I'm just saying this is unpaid balance times interest rate divided by 100 divided by 12. That's how you get the interest. This is if it's completely blank. Okay? So here we go. That's why I left you lots of room here. 160,000 times 0.06. So I go ahead and divide my interest rate by 100 already. Then I go divide it by 12. So we're computing that. You don't need to have that on the test. You can just go ahead and calculate that, but this is just for you, right? Times 0.06 divided by 12, that's $800. So now this is a chain reaction, right? So basically these two components here make up your payment. So to get this, we just go 1,024 minus 800 to give us 224. I'll go 0, 0 there. And so the principal now is going to take away from what we owe, and it's going to add to the portion of the house that we actually own. So if you're into accounting, right, you need to credit an account and debit another, right? Like it's kind of like you're transferring money. So we go 160,000 minus 224. So not by much, but it has gone down. Okay. And then this one we can just do by ourselves, right? We don't need a calculator for this one. So slowly your equity will be increasing, and at the same time your unpaid balance is going to be decreasing. And something that this table doesn't show is the value of the home is also going up at the same time. But we can't show that here, and we can't quite predict it, right? Next, we now take this with us over to the next line, and we repeat the process. And for some reason, this interest rate, some students get the one from the table, like the pink table, like that's only once to figure out your payment. It doesn't show up again. And you expect it to be a little less than before, right? So 798, 88. And then we go 1,024 minus 798, 88. My hope is that after a while, it just makes sense to you. Like it's like, yeah, it would subtract from my payment because I know that these two make up the payment, right? So that's 225.12. Good morning. Minus 225.12. We add 225.12 to the equity. Remember, equity is the part of the home that you own. Okay. So take my calculator, 159,776 minus 225.12. If you just join, we're on page 41. And there it is. And I'm going to do one more, but we'll just fill in, okay, the answers. That way I can say, right, you have a full table. So after 5 years, you might have, 70, 80 grand worth of equity. And the bank is going to say, hey, you've got a lot of equity. Would you like a line of credit? Would you like a loan? Would you like to buy a car? And we use that equity as collateral, right? It allows you to essentially buy a car over 15 years if you want to. A loan, if it's just a loan towards a car, they would never allow that. For a used car, 5 years max. But if you have equity, they basically say, hey, if you don't pay, we're taking your house, right? So it's kind of scary at the same time. Okay. How much interest was paid over 2 months? Just the first 2 months? I think you all would agree we would add 807, right? 798.88. My key is slightly different, so that's 1598.88. There we go. I did 3 months on my original. So I can ask you things like that. But then this is where I'm testing your knowledge here. How much interest was paid over the life, right? Over the life of the mortgage, over 25 years. And no, you cannot just multiply the 800 by 12 by 25. It doesn't work that way. You should have the formula TI is payment times 12 times years minus mortgage. This part here in brackets is known as what we paid the bank. And we subtract what they gave us in the first place, right? The loan they gave us. So this is 1,024 times 12 times 25 minus we borrowed 160,000 from them. I don't have this number. You're the first group that gets the new booklet, guys. John was telling me, he's like, because John was with me last semester, he's like, this booklet is different than last semester. Yep. After 10 years of using the other one, I was done with it. It was outdated. It just didn't flow. So hopefully you like it. 147,000 for this house. 147,000. I don't know you. I was like, if I could keep all that money, but you can't, right? Like if you want a house, I mean, this is the thing. Let's say you want to save it all up. You want to buy it cash. You have to think, how long is it going to take you to get that much money? Are the houses will they have increased over that time period, right? So you kind of have to do like a cost analysis. What is best? Okay. This is it for my lesson on reviewing amortization tables. The only difference is the equity column, guys. That's the only difference. Go to 42. I want to see if you can do one that's partially filled in. Because there it's a little different. It's basically just adding and subtracting numbers. So go to 42, or is it, maybe it's not on 42. Let me check. No, not volume. Some of you would like to have a mute button on me, right? There, 42. Yeah, the one that you see on 42, I'm going to leave this because some are still copying. Go to 42 and try to fill in that table that is on page 42. You don't need to calculate the payment. You just need to fill in the blanks. Are you able to do that? So go for it, and I'll be there in a bit. I'll do my attendance in the meantime. Quiz on Friday. C and D would be kind of like a bonus if you can figure out C and D on page 42. I wouldn't expect you to know how to do that. Morning. I was recording this whole time. Sorry. Apologize to my viewers already. So if it's partially filled in, notice that the equity column is missing here. I didn't want you to have to worry about that. But to get the principal here, I would strongly suggest you show the work. Right? $280. And on a question like this, you've got two blanks, right? You need to use these unpaid balances because you know that to go from here to here, you went minus principal, right? So subtract them. So I'm going to go 191, 720 minus 191, 438, 66. Hold it. There we go. 281.34, which makes sense, right? The principal should go up over time. And then this allows me to find the interest. I just go 1200 minus the 281.34. So basically what I have is an Excel spreadsheet. I plug everything in and I just erase some of the values, and here you go, try to fill it in, right? Work backwards to determine that. So both interest and principal blank requires you to use the unpaid balances, okay? In this case, this one should be fairly straightforward again. This is 915.96, and here I'm just going to take the principal away from the previous unpaid balance. And that is 191, 154, 62. What was the original mortgage amount? Anybody? How would you find the original mortgage amount? Well, you kind of have to go backwards in time, right? This number, you got this number by subtracting the previous unpaid balance by 280 to get this, right? So basically, I'm going to say this goes, if you want to go up to the previous balance, you go plus 280, right? And that's going to be your mortgage amount. So I will go 191, 720 plus 280, and that's $192,000. That I would expect you to know how to do. For C and D, not sure if I have time for that. I'll just leave it. Like it will be a bonus. You have to use the formulas to figure that out. So I'm just gonna leave it for now. Wouldn't be expected on a test, C and D. You can just write bonus on it, like next to it. D is very doable. That one, sorry, I lied on that one. C is definitely a bonus, but D is doable. Total interest paid, right? What's the total interest paid? TI. Actually, you don't know the time, right? It is still a bonus, sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself here. C and D are connected. By doing C, you'll figure out the time, and that will allow you to find the total interest paid. So never mind, these would be a combination as a bonus question. You'd have to use your pink table. That would all kind of give it away, so you can figure it out. All right. I want to do property taxes, but I feel like I need you to try one more before we go. So go to 43. I will give you the answer shortly. Go to 43 and fill in that amortization table completely, right? You might not have time to do all 3 months, depends on how long it's going to take you, but 2 months for sure, right? So page 43, I will give you the answer.